we had an interesting meeting yesterday with with these folks. So we had a meeting in this room. There were almost 50 of us again, and what we did was we gathered. Oops, I'm not being. Sometimes not. There we go. So what we did was we asked the National Park Service to tell us. So we had to tell us what it's going to take to become a National Heritage Corridor. And so we had Alyssa on there with us, and she gave us a 45-minute, very informational presentation on what it takes to become a National Heritage Corridor. And so we also shared with her many of these slides, so she knew the background and the heritage and so forth of it. Then we had on Dion Hoskins Brown from the Gullah Geechee National Heritage Corridor, and as a view of what's it like to be a National Heritage Corridor, and so her presentation was really, really interesting because she kind of took the Bartram Trail Conference on and said, okay, this is what it would look like to you. And so as we just had a meeting in our boardroom here, and we were talking about, well, you know, what do we think? Okay. And so some conclusions came to me. So what are we here for? We're going to talk about what's out there. We're going to talk about and what's going on. That's what we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about the Bartram Trail Society of Florida's method. And the reason that we're going to do that, okay, is because right now, what we've done in building the Bartram Trail in Volusia County, as well as the Bartram Trail in Putnam County, seems to be the way that we would like to see it propagate. Okay. Now, in certain cases, that's not, you know, it's not going to work, but in a lot of cases, it will work. Okay. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And if you're from McIntosh County, please don't leave. It's okay. All right. So just so everybody knows, the Bartram Trail Conference established in 1976, part of the Bicentennial Observance, and through 8 southern states. Conference works to promote interest in developing public access recreational trails, hiking, canoeing, biking, horseback riding, and botanical gardens within the corridor of Bartram Trail. So that's really important to understand. So the idea is originally was that the Bartram Trail would be a corridor, and it would include recreational trails like hiking, biking, and paddling, and so forth. And so that was the original idea throughout individual states and coordinate regionally a unified effort. And so that was our charge back in 1976. Okay. So and it continues on. The Bartram Trail Conference has employed a string of pearls concept, significant natural areas, cultural significance. Additionally, the conference works to encourage the study, preservation, and interpretation of William Bartram heritage. And boy, have we done that. In the past 30 years, the amount of scholarship, and you've heard all those scholars talking today and all, and it's just amazing the amount of information and the interest that we're getting in Bartram, because he basically disappeared for about 100 years there, you know, but now, you know, since the conference came to be and all these scholars started generating new information and all, it's become cool. And so we have biennial meetings. Guess what? You're part of that. Okay. So what did we do? There was a report that we generated. It looks like this, and it was a study done by the Bartram Trail Conference of all things Bartram. Not only that, it was the culmination of the heritage study proposed by the Department of the Interior and so forth. And it was that was something they asked us to do. Once we finished that, then the National Park Service got their hands on it. And in 1982, a trail study or a feasibility study was prepared by the National Park Service. And that's what it looks like. And both of these reports are on our website, by the way. So you can get them and look them and read and see all the work that's already been done. Okay. Early in the process, it was decided to be useful to eliminate a corridor surrounding the routes traveled by Bartram. Why do that? Well, because some of those routes are highways now, you know, old Kings Road, 4-lane, you know, and so forth. So that was the idea behind that. And so increasing, but such geological context was as a utility for increasing comprehension of Bartram's activities. So in other words, if we took that corridor and we noted as close as we could get to these routes, the context of those routes becomes reality. And so that was the idea. And so out of this study, the National Park Service generated this map. This was the original Bartram Trail Study Corridor map, okay? And that was generated in 1981 during that study, okay? Then along came Brad, and Brad has created, he's embellished that, put color on it and so forth. And here's a good copy. If you're interested in what's out here, you need to come look at this copy of it, because you can actually read all these words on here. So that's what's out there, right? And then, so the National Park Study said a Bartram Heritage Project would include designation as a heritage corridor, designation develop a national scenic trail segments, designation Bartram National Recreation Trail, scenic highways, memorial highways, heritage centers, Bartram Heritage Cities, identification and protection of natural areas, and development and implementation of an interpretive program. Well, we at Bartram has checked off a bunch of those things that we've done in part or in as in kind and so forth. So a lot of that has already been done, except for the designation and the National Scenic Trail segments. Okay. So what's already out there? We got 8 national recreation trails, 32 established trails within the National Heritage Area, 17 Bartram routes, 2 Bartram scenic byways, 88 plus Bartram Trail historic markers, 120 dedicated sites, and Florida's #1. Okay, Georgia, it comes in at 28. South Carolina is at 23, 13 in Carolina, 20 in Alabama, 16 in Louisiana. Many of the above are public land, state parks, national parks. So we don't want to buy anything. It's already out there. I mean, we don't need to do that. So then along comes the Bartram Trail Conference, and the direction of Brad, our let's see, what's his title now? Director of Operations, created this website, and the website has all kind of good information on it. I mean, it's just chock full. It has a library, the Bartram Heritage Reports you see down here, the historical marker programs there, and you can go state by state and find out exactly what Bartram did in that particular state, and then click on the map, and it'll have the map of it. And this is what, if you look at the whole thing, this is what Brad's map has. And if you click on these particular items, and again, interpretation comes up about those particular sites. And so, does the Bartram Trail exist? Well, I got a picture that says it does. So that's kind of the way that we're going at this thing. So then the garden clubs got together, and they decided, look, we're going to help these guys out, okay? And we're going to start by erecting historical markers. This is a picture of our current historical marker. It says Bartram Trail Conference up there, and it has Bartram's shining face at the top, and so that's what a historical marker looks like. Okay, if you bought one today, this is what it would look like, and so that's what we have right now. But again, over this 40-year period of time, the historical markers have changed. So here's one on the left, erected by the Daughters of the American Colonists. I didn't know that they existed, and then over here is one erected by the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs, the Department of Transportation, U.S. Department of the Interior, and the National Park Service, Connecticut Seashore National. So, yeah, it takes up almost half of of the dialogue, you know, but that's one sign, and I've been to that sign, and it's still there. It's amazing. It's amazing. It really is amazing. But so the historical markers are buried. They really are, and but if you, how many are there? There's 88 of those things right there, and Christopher has actually gone out there and found them all. Right, Christopher? Yeah, and he's found even more than that. and so it's really an amazing thing. So does the Bartram Trail exist? I got a map that says it does, right? I do, and it's marked, got historical markers. So there are national recreation trails out there too. There's the Bartram Canoe Trail in Alabama, National Recreation Trail in Tuskegee, Bartram National Recreation Trail in Putnam County, the Bartram Trail at Thermal Lake, Georgia Bartram Trail, the new Bartram Trail at Augusta Canal, that's changed names, and the Bartram National Recreation Trail in North Carolina, and the Black Peak Trail in Mississippi. It was originally a Bartram Trail. So again, bullet points on what they wanted us to do. We've done a bunch. Okay, those exist. Okay. So not only do we have maps, and not only do we have historic markers, we got a movie. Right, and this movie was created by Dorinda and Eric Reichenbach, and you can see we've won awards, and I say we, you know, Dorinda has won awards on this, and so forth, and this is free for you to see. It's on South Carolina Educational PBS search. Cultivating the Wild, you get all, what is it, 90 minutes? Or no, it's 1 hour. And it's absolutely fascinating. In addition to the film, if you go to that website, there's some additional videos there that are really educational too. So this is good. So we're publicizing Bartram Trails by the movie that's out there now. It's really, really neat. Okay. And then we started what we call an affiliate program. And the idea behind the affiliate program is we wanted to have a Rolodex to show the National Park Service, you know, okay, these people have come alongside us. So the Bartram Trail Society of Florida was our first affiliate. The Blue Ridge Bartram Trail Conservancy was our second affiliate. The Florida Federation of Garden Clubs came along. Stetson University came along. Historic Blakely State Park over in Mobile is one. The Ashley Tilley Foundation is one. The St. Andrew's Episcopal Church hadn't signed the paperwork yet, but they will. and the Atlanta History Center wanted to be one. The William Bartram chapter of the DAR down in the Villages in Florida is one. The Bartram Garden Club, represented by Ms. Williams here, is one. The Garden Club of Palatka, the Diamond Head Garden Club in Mississippi. They are so proud to be an affiliate with us because they've got the marker and they're really proud of that marker, you know, but, you know, you hated to say, well, Billy didn't land there, but anyway, and that's the case. That's the case with a lot of those. They're in the corridor because they're within 25 miles of his actual route. And so it's really important that they know that. And so it's really cool, really cool. There's all kinds of those examples. So that's the National Park Service stuff, okay, that we talked about yesterday and all. But what we wanted to do was say, okay, look, if the National Park Service, if we started today and we had everything that they asked us to have ready to go, it would take 6 years. And frankly, I'm in my 70th year. I ain't counting on 6 years being here. But remember, we started this in 1976, you know, and so now from now on, it would still be 6 years. So what we want to do is look at what's going on, right? And so that's why we want to talk about that with you guys, okay? And Mr. Dean Campbell, my close personal friend and paddling ally. Let's go forward. Let's go. Now, right there. All right.
Okay, I'm going to count on the acoustics being okay here, so you can hear me. Like Sam said, we're trying to just give you an overview of what we've been able to accomplish in Florida in a relatively short time, very inexpensively, and we've had a heck of a lot of fun doing it. And so, and I think a lot of our enthusiasm is based on just the fact that we want to encourage you not to think of this as drudgery, but rather to think of it as an opportunity to get involved in something that can just be an awful lot of fun. You heard from Brad yesterday about wandering around the woods and finding the old roads and stuff. You know, that's what it's all about. And it's so much fun to do it that we just love to get people involved in doing it. And when we can drag them out in the woods and do it with us, you know, the lights come on and they get involved and then it happens. So that's kind of the core statement. As far as what's going on in Florida, right now we're active in 6 counties, and again using our template of common signage for each county, so that the trail looks contiguous. We've developed a particular logo, can be applied to any county. Again, it can be applied. We can leave Florida with this same logo, and it can go to your county in Georgia, your county in South Carolina, wherever. So that's kind of the way that looks. Bartram Trail Society of Florida. 2013 is when we started development of the trail as a city and county project. In 2015, we hosted a Bartram Trail Conference there in Palaca. The Bartram Trail Conference came, and they got excited about what was going on, saw what we had did, and said, "Wow, you know, tell us more." And as we've mentioned numerous times, by 2016, the state came to us and said, "Gee, let's make this thing a national recreation trail." That happened because they saw what we did, not because we went out and asked them to do it. In 2016, we began the St. John's River Bartram Frolic, an annual event on the riverfront that has where we invite the community to come out. We share the Bartram story and take them out on the trail to enjoy that. 2017, St. John's Riverkeeper and the Bartram Trail Society of Florida began the frolic on the St. John's Educational River. The St. John's Educational Program is based on, it's a way to get school kids to come down to the river, see and feel things, and to hear the history.
Just like to recognize Lisa Lane, I think I saw her. Did you, Lisa? Oh, there she is. Lisa is the St. John's River. Under her direction, and remember Emily Moore was sitting over here yesterday and everything. And so between that group, they're the ones that brought the educational process, taught us how to do this thing, and we got to establish a relationship with the Putnam County School District. And so now we're part of the Putnam County School curriculum. And we thank you, Linda, for that. It's been a great partnership, and this is the fun part to us. Then we've got the trail over with the educational process. We can't wait for the kids to get back.
Yeah, so and this is really invaluable for getting away from people our age and involving people in the younger age group, get them excited now, teach them about William Bartram and how that fits into ecology and natural systems like the St. John's River. It accomplishes a whole lot of different goals. When you can use this Bartram story to get kids to open their eyes to the environment and protection of our resources and that kind of thing is just a great hook. So that's we started in 2017, do it annually. In fact, we started at first, we just kind of offered it, and then we were it just kind of started to, well, yes, a lot of work. And then the schools came to us and said, "Are you going to do it? Can we do it this year? Can we do it this year?" So yeah, it's an annual event. Then in 2019, we expanded to the statewide entity by taking the Bartram Trail Society or Bartram Trail Committee of Putnam County and merging that in or evolving into the Bartram Trail Society of Florida, so that we could reach out to other counties and to get them involved in the trail development. Now what do? We give informational presentations on request. We staff the society booth. We've got that back there in the room. we take those to all kinds of different events. It's an opportunity to encourage membership and let them know about the heritage of William Bartram. We are revising and updating our society website so that it's now a whole lot more friendly for use on your cell phone. That thing just went hot yesterday, and they're still loading the content on it while we're here. But if you want to get on the Bartram Trail Society of Florida website, you can see what the new format looks like. I'll show you a little bit here in a sec. And we're meeting with organizations, and this is what's really key, meeting with other organizations and local governments to encourage the development of the trail within those other counties. So the Garden Club comes and says, here's a presentation for what we're on. And Sam goes down, we send Billy Bartram in uniform, and he goes down. And before you know it, they're excited about the Bartram Trail and they want to get involved. How can we do it? How can we become an affiliate? That kind of thing. So that has been really key to getting this county by county effort to actually be effective. I've mentioned our Bartram Trail website. This is what the home page looks like. You can kind of scroll down that thing. It's state of the art. Works. It's going to work a whole lot better than our old website, but we're currently working on that. This is actually the transition from the Bartram Trail Society of Florida. I'm going to kind of go county by county what's happening in the counties, those 6 counties that we identified at first. Within Putnam County, of course, we've got the brochure. We're sort of in maintenance mode, but maintenance is that's probably selling it a little short because we are evolving other stuff there. I mean, we're finding sites. We're not just sitting on our hands. So updating the Bartram Trail Putnam County website so that it merges with the Bartram Trail Society of Florida website. Now everything will look the same, and when you go to our website, the society website, it'll link right to Putnam County, and you can get all that content there. Continuing trail maintenance, the fun part, going out on the trail, putting up signs, cleaning them off every once in a while, continuing to educate and to facilitate tours, and continuing to hold the annual events like the Frolic and again the school stuff. That's Putnam County. This is what the new Putnam County website is going to look like. We actually have it. When you click on this little button here, you actually go in. Sam and I are going to be on site at each of these different sites, giving you a tour of what happened here. So you go to Rollstown, click on that button, and then Sam and I'll be sitting, or actually I think at Rollstown, probably Ken Mahan will be telling you just what happened. Yeah, I think Catherine Braun's going to tell you about what happened. We got great content. So all that's right there, and it's right up in your face. And you want to learn about it, well, it's there. Now, second one's Bartram Trail in Volusia County. You heard from Tony today. He's kind of the key mover there. They have a brochure, kind of like ours is. Their trail is still under development, I think. That's kind of my opinion. I'm not sure what kind of signage they've got out on site, other than they've got a lot, and he mentioned this, a lot of historical markers and that kind of thing, but they've got some really good key Bartram sites at Blue Springs, Bartram Gardens, which is something that Stetson University has set up right on Lake Barrington. The Bartram Oak in Astor, so the site of Spalding's upper store is there in Astor, and Hontoon State Park, low-hanging fruit that is very key Bartram sites. So they've got a lot to work with in Volusia County. Unfortunately, the only web presence they really have, as far as what you'll see that links them to our trail concept, is their website. That's it. There's nothing to scroll through. There's nothing to drill down through. So I think it's more of a place marker at this point, and we will be linking that to our website, Bartram Trail Society of Florida website. So it will be linked in with that. So it'll be easier to find and have a place there. They do have other web resources within the county, things that take you along some Bartram Trail stuff, and all the markers are all identified. So there are extra resources there. St. Johns County, This is what the Bartram Trail sites, you can see there are a lot of sites in St. Johns County. Clumped together here. These are the John and William Bartram sites, and along the river corridor, the ones that were covered in travels. But they've got a lot of sites, again, centered within the city, as well as out in the county. It makes it a little bit difficult because they don't play together well. But regardless, they have a lot of good key sites. They are very interested in developing the trail in St. Johns County. And we have identified some key contacts within the Parks and Recreation Department there that are spearheading the development of the trail in the county. So we've identified the sites. They are planning to use the existing parks and recreation properties along Bartram routes to create their trail. They're proposing developing a virtual tour guide app. And then they are also interested in purchasing and placing Bartram Trail site markers like we did in Putnam County. And so right now, they do also have the William Bartram Scenic and Historic Highway, which does have a web presence. And then, of course, there's a lot of historic markers in St. Johns County. They're also available on the web. Bartram Trail in Duval County. There again, there are quite a few sites along the river, and primarily located in places that William Bartram visited during his travels down. And we've developed a good comprehensive list of those sites. We provided those to the county. There's good interest in the county to develop the trail. Thanks to some contacts with the county commission there. We have a key contact within Parks and Recreation, and they are planning to develop the trail again using existing Parks and Recreation properties. And they've also hired an intern recently that's going to help develop interpretive signage with the city and National Park Service partners in Duval County. And then they are applying for a grant to help fund the signage. So that's moving right along. In Duval County, the University of North Florida already has a great website there, the Florida History Online, that discusses Bartram in all of Florida, but a lot of good content for Duval County on that website. Alachua County, again, there are a number of sites over there. This is where Bartram left Putnam and then walked or rode horse over west out towards Manatee Springs. There are a lot of interesting sites along the way. We've identified a key organization over there, which is the Friends of Paynes Prairie Preserve State Park. They're very much interested in incorporating or bringing more Bartram content into what they have there. And so they are interested in purchasing and placing Bartram markers. There is a rudimentary Bartram trail that exists in the county. And they have a little brochure that looks like this, and it's only like a 6 mile long trail, but it does have some Bartram sites along it. And you can see, I think on the date there, you can see it was actually developed in May 1986. Right. So it's been in existence for quite a while. The Florida Museum is really about the only web presence that they have over there, but they do have some really good web content. They also have the Florida Museum. They've got exhibits there that do feature William Bartram and the Spalding's Lower Store. They've got a lot of artifacts on display over there that were collected from the Spalding's Lower Store. So it's a cool place to visit. There are a lot of it's a lot of fun to do Bartram in Alachua County.
Bartram Hall. Bartram Hall.
Right, Bartram Hall, University of Florida. We even found that.
Yes.
We had a good day traveling around looking at that. Finally, the last one is Bartram Hall in Nassau County. This is our latest excursion, and really one of the most exciting ones that we've had, because they have a goodly number of sites. It's not a bunch, but this shows you what a county that doesn't have a whole lot of sites, you can still take advantage of what you've got. So the sites have been identified in a consortium here, and this one's a little different from the other counties because a consortium of groups have kind of come together to make this thing happen. And it includes private business, historical societies, Parks and Recreation Department, and Garden Club within the area have all come together, and they're continuing to push this ball down the road and make sure that it happens. They're proposing again to use the existing trail resources and public lands for the addition of Bartram Trail signage. So trail's already there. Let's plant a stake that shows how it connects to Bartram or vice versa. And really the trail creates itself just by planting those markers. They've expressed interest in purchasing and placing Bartram Trail markers, and permission has already been obtained from the city of Fernandina Beach to place those markers once they're in production. And there are also some Bartram themed resources in place in the county, one of which is this one, which is pretty cool. And again, this consortium includes a private business. This private business took it upon themselves to create a little video here, the Nassau County Bartram Trail Project. And it features Sam Carr talking about Bartram in Nassau County. And they also have.
Which business is it?
Oh, the Amelia Kayak.
Amelia.
No, it's Amelia Kayak Excursions.
Kayak Excursions, yes, thank you. They want to make sure that's known. So they've got this, if you search it in Nassau County, this little video will come in.
They have an annual kayak trip every April, which is when Bartram travels into Amelia Island. So
This is Egan's Creek,
with a
right? And this is on Egan's Creek. So this is who he stayed with while he was on Amelia Island. And they already have a well-developed trail system on Amelia Island. And so they don't have to do anything except plant the signs, and the trails are created. The trail maintenance is already in place. And this is the kind of thing that a lot of communities can take advantage of. If the trails are already there and Bartram crossed it, just stick your sign on their trail, take advantage of the infrastructure that's there, and it can be done for very economically. So to just kind of conclude that part of it, we're going to bring up one of our cooperators. Where is she? Yes, come on up, and we're going to get the perspective of someone who has worked with us to actually get this thing going in a county setting. Come on up.
Click it one more time, baby.
Good. Oh, there it is.
Hey,
there we go. There it is. Beverly
There we
Williams.
are.
It's Beverly Williams with the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs, and she's
Not
gonna,
the best picture of me.
okay. I don't know if we'll need that, need that or not, probably not. So, yeah, so Beverly's here. Yeah, so Beverly's going to share with us what it's like to be approached by a group like this, and the kind of support that we can provide to her.
It's intimidating, but it's also encouraging. So, and I have to tell you, being the last speaker of the day is intimidating, especially after I've heard all the professionals speak. So I'm not one of those professionals, but I want to just take a few minutes to tell you about garden clubs and how we have gotten involved and how we hope to continue to get involved. Back in 1976, the Garden Club of Palatka, Florida, approached the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs about appointing a Bartram Trail Conference chairmanship. And it went regional. Deep South adopted the idea. That is 6 southeastern states comprised of federated garden clubs. So they took the ball and they rolled with it. And beginning in 1980, Florida Federation of Garden Clubs began placing Bartram Trail historic markers in the state at various Bartram sites. And you saw some photos of the markers there in the previous slides. By 1986, 21 markers had been dedicated by Florida Federated Garden Clubs. There are more now. Obviously, there are 88. But that was good because the markers began awakening an appreciation of Bartram's lasting legacy. And consequently, Deep South Bartram Trail chairman got involved and became very proactive and a force behind forming the Florida Bartram Trail Conference, all thanks to the Palatka Garden Club, whose spark first launched in Florida the movement through the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs. Because many of Bartram's most exciting adventures happened in Florida, and we're thinking of alligators here and bears and wolves. In 1986, the president of the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs encouraged the publication of this book, Bartram in Florida, 1774. Some of you may have not heard of it. It's very easy to read, and I don't think it's in print any longer. And then a few years ago, Sam Carr reactivated the Bartram movement in Palatka and asked the Garden Club to get involved. And club member Kalia Beline, who I think is with us today via Zoom. Hi, Kalia. She reinstated the FFGC chairmanship and asked FFGC to join the Bartram Trail Society, and she currently promotes it through our state garden clubs and is encouraging them to become an affiliate. And I think we have 12 clubs maybe now who are affiliated. My club, the Bartram Garden Club in Fernandina Beach, is one of those. When my club was chartered in 2016, there was no doubt that we would be called the Bartram Garden Club, because Bartram began his exploration of the St. Johns River in 1774 by first setting foot in Florida at present day Fernandina Beach. So that was a legacy that we were very, very determined to preserve. And one of our earliest goals was to restore our Bartram Trail historic marker, which was originally placed in 1981 in Fernandina Beach. And we did that, and last January, a year ago, we rededicated it, and Sam and Mike came up and gave a program to our garden club and helped us with the rededication. And because of their presence and that presentation to our club that day, that sparked an interest within our club to extend the Bartram Trails in Florida to Nassau County. We are the last ones to come on board, but we're there. And we're in the process of placing the Nassau County Bartram Trail signs, as Dean told you about. And we're working with the city and county parks recreation directors to make it happen. And the city of Fernandina Beach, as Dean said, has already approved us to do this. And it was really easy. All I had to do was ask. I mean, it was just as easy as that. So garden clubs have had a very, very positive effect, and it can happen. It can happen in Georgia. And the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs competes with Georgia really, really bad and hard. And I would like to challenge our Georgia garden clubs to step up to the plate and become affiliated. And who knows, Darien could be Georgia's epicenter like Palatka is in Florida. So I just want to thank you for letting me brag a little bit about our garden club ladies. Don't ever underestimate those little ladies, because we do more than you think we do. We don't just wear white gloves and hats anymore. We wear gardening hats and gardening gloves. So, thank you so much for your time.
Give you an idea of how important the garden clubs with the formation of the Bartram Trail Conference. In 1978, the Deep South Region Garden Clubs wrote this in a letter to all of their members. It says, "It's truly felt that the garden clubs of the Southern region have provided the impetus, the effort, the seed money to get a tremendous project underway." Isn't that cool? trails are unique to America, and when the 2,500 miles of Bartram Trail being constructed, it will become a permanent heritage for America. One that the garden clubs can well be very proud of having a part of and recreating. Isn't that neat? That's how they started this whole thing out, and helped form the Bartram Trail Conference and all that. We learned a lot about that back in Montgomery, but you know, as for me and my house, we'll always be thankful for the garden clubs and the ladies, as Catherine terms them, ladies of means. And so they were able to get things done, and Bartram Trail came in port. So the whole idea of us having this particular segment was for this. So what we would like to do, we really need to get this idea started, you know, up here. And I can't think of a single place to actually, it would be easy to do. And that way, and we've already created your logo for you, you know, and so here it is in Maconochie County as the Bartram Trail would really be a thing. So we can export this. Not only can we export this, but, and this is what it looks like in Florida, but these are our peeps. These are the folks that we take to the kids. And the Long Warrior is Jim Sawgrass, who's also in the movie. William Bartram is our William Bartram, Mike Adams, which we're over here. And Trader Joe Wiggins, he's the one that trains the kids, teaches the kids about starting fire and how to skin a deer and stuff like that. It's really cool, really cool. So that's and this is. I mean, imagine how exciting it is, you know, to have a program where you've got classes of second graders and fifth graders sitting there listening to Billy Bartram teach them how to call a turkey. It's the coolest thing. It really is. Right, Mike? Is that, and here's the Long Warrior, and he's doing his presentation. And I don't know if you can see the look on this little girl's face, but it's absolutely priceless. She's absolutely shocked and all. And so this is the fun stuff that we're doing now. So, so in concluding all of these presentations and everything, you know, the whole idea behind this thing, Tony, and what we've presented here and what Dean was trying to walk you through is this stuff can be done locally, because that's really who needs to own these things, these Bartram trails and all. And so we don't want to take any more land. We don't want to, you know, the rivers are already here and all, and we just need to celebrate Bartram's legacy in these areas. And so whatever kind of groups or people that need to come together, you know, maybe the whole Altamaha River needs to be a Bartram Trail. It does, because it is. I mean, you know, and also that's the idea. So the Bartram Trail Society of Florida is here, and we will happily share all of our graphics. We will happily share all of our knowledge on how to do this stuff, and that's the idea behind this. Okay.